Welcome to Comcast Local Edition. I'm Donna Richardson, and my guest this hour is the Honorable Stevens Miller, Dulles District, Loudoun County Board of Supervisors. Supervisor Miller, always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Now, I know that you're involved in a health insurance issue that's going on right now because we have a high incidence of autism.
That's right, we do. In Virginia, there's been a 600% increase in diagnoses of children in our public school system who have something called autistic spectrum disorder, one of those cognitive challenges. And that's a shocking increase. It's added up to a 9,000 pupil count in the public schools that need some kind of assistance and therapy. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, in Virginia, we have treated this as a learning disability and not a cognitive challenge. That means that those kids are not getting any help out of the state until they're in the school system, when really the best time to give therapy to a child who's diagnosed with ASD is as early as you can do it, maybe at the age of even 2 or younger. So we need to deliver services to them that right now the state isn't providing. And
so how can we help with this?
Well, something I'd like to do is see the health insurance companies required to take care of those kids. Right now that's an option for them, and many of them don't do it. There was a bill in the last session of the state legislature that would have required that. Unfortunately, it didn't get the support it really needed. What I'd like to do is see people fight for that, see it passed, and let's get the therapy those kids will need, because among other things, if they get that early therapy and become more self-reliant, they'll be less likely to be dependent on state resources as they get older.
That's true, and if we don't take care of them when they're small, we're going to ultimately have to take care of them when they do become adults.
That's absolutely right, and I think that's a good example of a larger community of special needs kids that exist in relatively small numbers, each of them. So for example, there are children with sickle cell anemia, children with epilepsy and so forth. Mm-hmm. These don't add up to large enough numbers as any one community, so I think it's time for us to really look around and ask ourselves, are we doing enough for all of the kids who have special needs? Because my feeling is that if even one family in Virginia has a special needs child that has to be taken care of, we should feel that we all have a special needs child we need to take care of.
Exactly. It is definitely a community effort. Now, moving forward, how do we look for budget for 2010?
Well, that's going to be a rough ride, and already we're getting indications that it's going to be one of the most extraordinary budget exercises of the county's history. One of the things that I've recently been informed of by county staff, and it's been reported in the media, is that our school system has ended the year with an unexpectedly large surplus. They have about $15 million left over from what we gave them. So I'm very pleased to find out that we did transfer enough funds to allow them to operate and have money left over. Right. But I'm somewhat puzzled about what happened in the interim, because for the first time, parents of children who play sports and seniors who want to park at school if they're allowed to drive, they've been charged rather exorbitant fees to participate in those things. Now, the school system imposed those fees. The Board of Supervisors, we didn't have any control over that, but I have heard from many parents who are unhappy about it because it's a lot of money, and this is a rough time to be asking families to pay for those things when they never really have in the past, or at least not this much. Mm-hmm. To find out at the end of the year that the school system had millions of dollars of unspent funds, I'm waiting to hear what their plan is to reimburse those families and those parents, and maybe even think about the teacher raises they weren't able to give this year, because the money turns out to have been there all along, so they were fully funded. They were very well funded, and that's something I'll be asking a lot of questions of the school board and their school superintendent about when we go through the next budget process.
Yes, it would be very interesting to hear what the answer is.
I'm looking forward to it.
Now, moving forward, energy efficiency, I mean, it's all so important for our environment.
It sure is, and I'm still as delighted as I was last year to be part of the Energy Efficiency Committee, the new standing committee that was created by this Board of Supervisors to address that and general environmental issues. This is a very good time for our citizens to be thinking about energy efficiency, because we're headed toward the winter. What I've learned by the meetings of our committee and by talking to activists and citizen groups about the simple things that people can do in their homes to improve energy efficiency, it is so easy to do. You can hire someone or you can do it yourself, just plugging up leaks in the ductwork, turning down the thermostat, or using one that has a clock that adjusts it for the time of day. It costs a few dollars to do these things, but the beauty of it is not only will it allow us to use our limited energy resources more efficiently, but it saves the homeowner who does it money. These things pay for themselves. Right. And we have the resources here in Loudoun County. The local community includes a group called Sustainable Loudoun. I hope your listeners will check into it and they can learn all about how to do this.
Excellent. Well, Supervisor Miller, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks.
My guest this hour has been the Honorable Stevens Miller, Dulles District, Loudoun County Board of Supervisors. And thank you for watching Comcast Local Edition. I'm Donna Richardson.